Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Today, I present to you episode 10 of my Divest from the Democrat Party platform. Today, we have a spotlight on New York City High School that was displaced, that the kids were displaced and sent home for thousands of illegal immigrants. And I'm going to let somebody else talk to you for around 5 minutes about it under fair use policy, because he said Matt Walsh could talk about it better than I can. But I don't see how we could possibly vote Democrats back into office after our borders have been wide open to criminals and murderers, and we don't know who's coming in this thing, and there's a lot of men. A lot of men, people are opening their jails and letting these people into our country, and they're all over the place now. There's no putting the genie back in the bottle. But like, share, and subscribe. Make some comments. Hit the notification bell, because I'll be putting out content like this. You know, uh, now that I have a taste for it. And listen, I tell you, the Republicans are not much better. They have their own brand of filth. We need a third party, and we need a third party in the worst way. But if we do, it has to be a party for the middle class, for the folks who are the engine of this country. And right now, we're being overrun by two parties, and it's not a pretty sight. And I don't know how much more we can take before the bow breaks. But this is a tragic thing that's happening to this high school and high school students. And with the vastness of New York City, you mean you have to displace high school students for this? I mean, really, Eric Adams? A powerless mayor of the greatest city that the world has ever known. It's a shame. It's sad. Well, anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna let Matt Walsh tell you. He's gonna build up the story. I'm gonna just play 5 minutes of his tape. I'm gonna put the five or less minutes of his tape, but I'm gonna put the whole tape into the description so you can go to his channel and listen to his whole diatribe, soliloquy, or whatever you want to get on this issue. He gets into some good stuff, man. His channel is good anyway. He got some good stuff on it. I don't agree with everything, of course, but the things that he does talk about that I could agree, he really puts it in a nice way. So without further ado, we're going to let Matt Walsh talk to you about what's going on in Brooklyn, New York, and what it might mean.
A few days ago, more than a dozen gunmen, some of them carrying grenades, stormed a television station in Ecuador. And you might have seen some of the dramatic footage on social media already. The attackers delivered this message, quote, "We are on air, so you know that you cannot mess with the mafia." And in Ecuador, that appears to be true. Just a few years ago, Ecuador was among the safest countries in all of Latin America. But beginning in 2020, that began to change. And it changed very quickly. From 2020 to 2022, the murder rate in Ecuador jumped by nearly 250%. Again, that's 250%. Political candidates now routinely get shot in the street. Car bombings are not uncommon. Just last year, a leading presidential candidate was gunned down leaving a campaign rally. What happened to Ecuador is pretty clear. It doesn't take a foreign policy expert to figure this out. The country's ports, with access to the Pacific Ocean, were taken over by drug traffickers and cartels who rapidly gained enormous power. That's why the majority of murders in the country take place in coastal towns. It's also why the presidential candidate was targeted. He promised to order the military to secure the ports, so he was assassinated. And now you can't even watch a television broadcast in Ecuador without seeing masked gunmen behind the anchor's desk. Now, this isn't to say Ecuador is a simple case or one that's directly comparable to any other country, but the top line conclusion isn't hard to draw, and it's this: when you don't defend your country's borders, chaos follows very quickly. Now, a lot of institutions that you take for granted, whether they're presidential elections or news broadcasts, they suddenly become unreliable, to put it mildly. Things you thought were unthinkable begin to happen. And before you know it, you are displaced in your own country, no matter who you voted for. The residents of Brooklyn, New York, now understand that concept very well, or at least they should. Because this week, James Madison High School in Brooklyn canceled classes so that busloads of hundreds of illegal migrants could move into the school during bad weather. School functions that had been planned for months were postponed. Students were told that instead of coming to class, they should log on to the internet and learn remotely, which is to say, as we know from the remote learning experiment during COVID, that they won't learn anything at all. This is so hard to believe. It's so contrary to the very concept of a sovereign nation that I think it bears repeating. New York just ordered a public high school to displace American students, children who have every right to be in this country, in order to house criminal foreigners who cross the border illegally. I mean, it's hard to believe it's real, but we know it's real because the parents of students at James Madison High School have been filming what's happening. Watch.
How does it feel that you kicked all the kids out of school tomorrow? How does it feel? Do you feel good? I hope you feel good. I hope you all sleep really well tonight.
Why are you yelling at them?
Because I have a right to. That's why. That's why. Because I'm an aggravated mother. That's why. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Taking over my kid's school.
So that's a parent watching as the city, which she funds with her tax dollars, buses in hundreds of illegal aliens into her child's school. These are foreigners who haven't been vetted. No one has any idea who these people even are. But even if we did know exactly who these migrants were, it doesn't matter. They don't have a right to be in this country, much less in our schools. But in that footage, you see the city ushering these migrants into the school. And you can hear someone chastising this woman for daring to be upset about it. Our children, American children, should be the nation's top priority. I mean, that's so obvious it shouldn't need to be said, but we are putting adult foreigners above our own children. It is madness. And they're doing this at literal gunpoint, by the way. And all the parents can do is film, or they'll be arrested and charged with hate crimes, probably. So that's what some of them did. For the past 48 hours, parents have taken video of government agents moving equipment into their children's high school, including cots, so they can sleep in the gym and the hallways. You maybe never expected that schools will become refugee camps in an alleged first world country, but that's what's happening. Watch.
I'm gonna stop it there. You can go back. I'm gonna put this in the description box, a link to that, and I'm gonna stop sharing. I mean, what has our country come to? I mean, listen, there's a way to do immigration, and there's a way to get people in here on a regular basis. I mean, there's a process to this, and if there's a process, that means you can measure it, you can follow the steps, you can identify the bottlenecks, you could put improvement programs that maybe widen the pipeline so it can be faster or whatever. But this should be a controlled burn in how people come into the country. And if the capacity of our system it doesn't meet the capacity, you can increase the capacity by certain ways once you do the analysis of where the bottlenecks are. And it should be as simple as that. I mean, it should not be some complicated process that we can't fix. These are simple problems, whether it's a Six Sigma project or whatever the hell it is. I mean, if there's a flow of a person being a migrant into a new country, there's a process you got to go through to get full citizenship. It might take years, but there's a process to do that. And everybody should go through the process. Now, and even the exceptions should be measured, and there should be a discrete reasons why those exceptions exist, and people have to meet the criteria for those exceptions. And once they do, they get put into the pipeline. And that's as simple as that. Everything else, it's just bogus. So I can't see how we could possibly continue with the regime that's in power now, because they failed, right? Biden probably doesn't know what's going on while they wipe the drool from his mouth. And Kamala Harris is not presidential material. And the fact that the Republicans can't put up anybody better than Trump and DeSantis or this chick, is not endearing themselves to anybody either. Vivek, I don't know whether racism or something is keeping him down on the bottom of the poll. I'd take him over DeSantis or Nikki Haley. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Our politics are going to shit, but this is the year. 2024 should be an interesting year for us all. And I tell you what, I vow though, no matter who becomes president, we got to keep moving. We got to keep living. We got to keep making our mark on this world, regardless of who's in charge. Our pain, marriage, politics, and sports. Over and out.